Hello, everybody. Good to see you on this live stream. My name is Sybren, and today I will be coding some live stuff on Flamenco, our new render management software. It's still very much work in progress, and that's what you're here to see. I see some well-known names. Hello, good to see you all. So I'm now at home actually, and I did all the web stuff that I did so far for the web front end of Flamenco. I did that at the office, and now I'm arguing with npm and yarn and all the JavaScript package stuff to even get it running here. So this is a great start. Let's actually show you guys what I'm looking at. If you have any questions, just pop it in the chat. I'll keep an eye on. Hey, yeah, I'm singing along to your music. Okay. So this is where I just left off. I tried to get everything working before starting the stream, but it's not. And Francesco was so friendly for me to make a new web app based on Vue 3 instead of Vue 2. I wanted to show you the current state of things based on Vue 2, which is a JavaScript framework for dynamic websites and web apps. But that's not going to happen because it's not working. So let me first show you the fun part. This little tour of Flamenco where we are now. Webcam has just weird mapping. Seems to stretch your face when you lean forward, like this. I guess that's just wide angle. I'll stay a little bit further away. I understand nothing of what is happening, but you seem to be doing a good job. Well, thank you very much. So what is happening is that I will be coding on Flamenco, and I will cursing a lot about stupid stuff, and I hope that at some point people in the chat have questions or even can help me out, because I have to write the web front end and I'm not that good at it. But before we start, let me give you a small tour of Flamenco itself. I hope this is readable in the stream. If it's not, let me know, because what I write is kind of important in a developer stream. So we have two executables here: Flamenco Manager, Flamenco Worker. I run Flamenco Manager, and I will, in another tab, I will start Flamenco Worker. Will Go be an integral part of Blender development in the future, maybe replacing Python at some point? I would love to, but there are certain differences that make that very hard to use Go as a scripting language. So I kind of doubt it. So now we have a manager which will do stuff. We have a worker which will do other stuff. And hello, Ricardo. Good to see you. I don't even have a Flamenco test.blend yet. Let me start Blender. Yeah. Of course, my Blender is not working. I have a 3.1 release. That's fine. I also have the Flamenco add-on, which is good. So now in the add-on, I can point Flamenco to the manager, which is running on localhost. Click this button and it will tell me that it has Flamenco 3 and the Shaman is enabled, which is the file transfer thing that we figured was useful. So now let's make some stupid animation. This is what you get when you let developers make animation. So let's say we have an animation. Square. And zoomed in a little bit. Now here in the output we have Flamenco 3 panel, and before you can do anything you have to fetch the job types, and the job type can be something like yeah, Oscar winning, thanks. A job type can be anything like render this file into frames, or it can be export this edit from the video sequence editor, or it can be bake the physics on this file. For now, we have 2 job types implemented, and that is an echo sleep test, which will allow you to give a message that will be echoed into the log, and a sleep duration in seconds. And also we have a simple Blender render, which is the one I will be using. So we'll render frame 1 to 60, 30 frames per task. So every time Blender is started by a Flamenco worker, it will render 30 frames. The render output will be to, well, let's call Flamenco storage and renders, and then demo there as a demo. Can't see the panel. Oh no. Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Let me move myself over there. So I'm ensuring that relative path is off because I don't want relative things. I just want to have everything know that I want to write the file there, nothing relative to the blend file. When I click on accept, you can see the panel. There we go, now it's readable. So what we have here in the output properties is a Flamenco 3 panel. I can give a job name. By default, this is just the name of the blend file, so that you can open a shot file and the job name will be the name of the shot, which is quite easy. This list used to be empty when I first showed it, but because I clicked on a button already, this shows the echo sleep test and a simple Blender render. Yeah, the panel comes from an add-on. The add-on is here. You should see this. It's just called Flamenco 3, and it is part of the Flamenco project. Ever Blender streamer problem? Yeah, your face is somewhere. So this is where you configure which manager to talk to. Typically, this will be one for your studio, one for your home. And then that manager can tell the add-on which job types it support. So if you're in a studio and you want to customize this and you want to create your own jobs, you can totally do that. So we have set the frames that we want to render, the chunk size, the render output. Is it only 1 job per Blender scene? Well, a job it's a bit silly to say this, but it's anything you want it to be. So typically you would have 1 render job to render a scene in Blender. And this is why a lot of these things are linked to the current scene. But if you want to create some custom Flamenco job that loops over all the files in a certain directory and then starts rendering those, you could technically do that. Now I click on Submit to Flamenco, and it starts packing all the files it needs to render this. Of course, it's now a super simple file, so it doesn't need to do much. Here on the manager, you can see new Flamenco job received over there, and already it's churning away. And here, job became active, job status changed, and it's doing all kinds of stuff. And now it's failing because one of my tasks failed. That can happen. So let's see what's going on. Here we have the worker, which was getting a task from Flamenco, from the manager. It's running a task, Blender render with some arguments. This is all going well. And here we have a problem in the frames of video. exit status 1 from FFmpeg. Will multi-camera renders get sent to different workers? What you hear in the background is Mishak. Hi Mishak, it's my cat. So the way it works is that a job is split into tasks and a worker can execute a certain task. So if multi-camera renders, it very much depends on how you set it up. Probably like you would probably have to make a different render job for each, unless you're talking about multi-view, like the stereoscopic. Then because it's one render command for Blender, it's one task to render those frames and write them to file, which means it's also one thing for Flamenco itself. Like Flamenco doesn't alter what Blender does. It just calls Blender to do things. Anyway, before we go to the web stuff, let's go into actual coding and see why this is going wrong. So here you can find the job ID 598 something. And let's go into the task logs for job 598 something. And then the task UUID is 2EE, task 2EE. And here we have the log for that task. We rep it. And it complains that it cannot find startup MP4. Why? This weekend I was working from home because I want to have this work on Windows support as well. Like I want to work it on, have it working on Windows as well as Linux. Windows has always been a little bit problematic with the old Flamenco because we purely developed it on Linux. So when I'm at home, I sometimes work in the weekend on making it work on Windows, which means that I'm not really testing it on Linux. So this could have just been a small mistake on my part. So where does this guy come from? Like, as I said, we don't have a web interface working yet, which means that I can't really click on a web interface to investigate this. But what I can do is start SQLite and investigate the database of the manager. We have 4 tables: the jobs, the tasks, the workers, and the task dependencies, which encodes which task depends on what, so that the video creation at the end is actually run at the end and not somewhere in the middle. And here we have all the tasks with the failed one over there. And then you can see input glob is star.mp4. I think I know what I did wrong. There we go. So what's going wrong is that Blender is set up to render a video, while Flamenco with this job type expects to render frames. And it should pick up on the difference between that, and it didn't. So I didn't actually test this, so it's a good one. So here we have the job, and it's all a bit cobbled up right now, but this is the settings of that job. So it's just JSON. So let me put it here. There we go. That's more readable. So what you can see now is images or video. It correctly detected that we're rendering video. And it has container format MPEG-4. So it just should have skipped the video creation. So now first look at the job compiler. I know I'm going all over the place, but this is not just a useful presentation, it's actually me debugging what is going wrong. So this file is JavaScript, and the idea is that all the JavaScript parts of this thing, like wait, let me start afresh. This is the job type. So this label, simple Blender render, is what was just shown in the panel in Blender itself, like here, this guy. And this panel here, all these parameters actually come from these settings. And the idea is that when you're in the studio or at home or wherever and you want to change how Flamenco is working, you can take this script, modify it to suit your own needs, or even copy it to another script and have your own parameters there. And this has, like, the frames is a string that is required, and eval means you will get a Python button that I just pressed sneakily here. Like, if I remove this, I can click on this button and it will fill out the frames for me. Well, actually, it evaluated this gobbledygook to give me the frame start, a dash, and the frame end. All of this is not hard-coded in the add-on, but is actually taken from this, communicated from the manager to the add-on. So you can tweak things here if you want. Zebes 3D a la hora de corner Sybren. I have no idea what that means. I speak English and Dutch and a tiny, tiny bit of Croatian, but that's about it. So the thing is mpeg4.mp4, that's where the .mp4 came from. And here you have the compile job function, which is the function Flamenco Manager calls to get the job compiled. And compiling the job means you take the job type, which is simple Blender render, and you take the settings, which is this thing, and you turn that into a set of tasks to execute. So you get the job, and then there is here the authoring of the render task, the authoring of the create video task, and the authoring of a cleanup task, which are then put together in terms of dependencies to determine what gets run first, what gets run after. So I guess the author create video task is a bit overzealous. Ah, there we go. Yep, good find, Mishak. There you go. Spot the bug. Let's see, I'm going to wait. I know you guys are or see me a little bit with the delay. And so let's see if somebody types in the bug that is here, because it's a sneaky one. Best way to help somebody solve a problem is be a rubber ducky. Yeah, definitely. Triple is. No, it's a tricky one, but no. How about this? If you don't want to do the thing, don't just print that you're not doing the thing. Actually, don't do the thing. So it was a missing return. And then I had a different formatter here than in the other place. So I will just do save without formatting. Now I don't have live reload enabled yet for this, for these scripts. So I have to do rebuild. Yeah, good on you, Dan. Rebuild. It's running again. As you can see, it's really fast to compile. I can submit again. And now job state is changed to active. Yep, good. Rendering, another rendering. Command exited successfully. Then moving directories around. Job state is changed. Old, active, new, completed. There we go. So now there we have it. So it put the MP4 of the old run of the same job, put it into, oh no, yeah, it put it into an intermediate directory because that's where it starts. The firm is still running on localhost. Yeah, it's all local storage, all simple stuff. So that's why I can just work on a local file as well instead of on network attached storage. So this is the output of the first job. Jobs always run in an intermediate directory to not get in the way of anything else. It used to be that Flamenco write it to the final directory, and if it was already there, first put the old renders aside and then start rendering the new. But that it got complaints from the studio because people working on the edit would, once a shot was being re-rendered at the moment, they wouldn't see the old frames anymore. So that's why it's rendering into an intermediate directory first, and only once the job completed is the old stuff moved out of place and the new stuff put in. When do you think Flamenco 3 will be ready for public consumption? We have as the goal for this week that we get the web interface running. I got something running with Vue 2 already where we had a table of jobs, and you would see real-time status updates of those jobs and also new jobs being added. This needs to expand to tasks as well. You can click on a job, see the details, see the tasks. Then it needs to get action buttons because you want to pause a job, you want to restart a job. Maybe a task failed because the storage was full or for some other temporary reason. You want to click on requeue all the failed tasks. So there is still quite a bit of work to do. This all is not there. But rendering does work. So the whole backend, the communication between a worker and the manager is working. So in a few weeks, it should be in a very rough but usable shape. And then it'll take weeks or months more to really get it to a high level. It's a beautiful animation. Look at that. It brings tears to my eyes. It's so good. Hey, Raymond. So this is yeah, thanks. Here we have Mishak. Mishak is awesome. Now, what we have here is a mock-up that Francesco and Pablo made, and it is part of the lineup idea that we have. So that is why all the way at the top you can see that Flamenco was selected, and with lineup the idea is that you have one interface, one place where you can you can set up projects and then have different services hooking into that. And Flamenco was one of those services. Right now, Flamenco doesn't know anything about this. Flamenco is also not aware of any concept of project. I'm just getting the basics to work. So for now, we can just ignore that top bar. Then here you have different tabs for Flamenco. So you can see the jobs, you can see the workers, maybe some metrics and the settings. And the most important thing, what I want to work on today, is to get this 3-column layout working with the job list and then the job details and the task list. And once you click on a task, you can also see the task details. The idea is that also there will be a thingy on the bottom. Once you click on the logs button of the task details, then you should be able to see the task logs nice and wide, because it's going to be long lines of text typically when they come from Blender. So that is the idea. You've seen a little bit of what Flamenco can do. Let's give it a quick try with PNG files, because that is the minimum that just should work. Save this, Flamenco test, PNG, go. And now Blender is running again. You can see that it's being told to render PNGs. In the intermediate directory. There you go. So we have all the images there. Oh yeah, and of course, because it was done doing things, it moved the intermediate directory away. And there we have it. So video support apparently is still work in progress, but at least this works. Let's commit this fix, because that's kind of important. So we can stop the worker, because that's not going to do anything anyway. We can stop Blender. And now let's see, because Francesco made us a web app in Vue 3 that I should be able to get with yarn install. Oh, I missed a bunch of text, sorry. It's actually playing, it looked like one frame for me. Yeah, it was with the separate images one, not with the video one. That was horrible. Would it be possible if someone that worked in making the code for Unreal Engine 5 Nanite pass you how they made it, could you put it on Blender? No, because I'm not working on the rendering engine. So that is not for me. I do animation and rigging, and I also work on some pipeline stuff like Flamenco. Different kind of renders, yeah. K-Mention is more like Eevee than Cycles, yeah, correct. That's right. I like to use the VS tools for Git. Yeah, I like them somewhat. Like Git lens I use for, I don't know if you can see that in the stream, but for these kind of hover over thingies, like this line was done by me 3 months ago. That's kind of useful. For committing, I'm more fan of Git GUI. Because for me, this is just a clean interface that just shows everything that was changed, and like you can, this is not really a good example, but once we start to commit something, I will show you why I like Git GUI. So let's see, the yarn is done. Your current version of yarn is out of date. Yeah, I know. So we should be able to get something with yarn serve. There we go. And we have a job table and job details and task details. Excellent. So now what we have to do is first get communication with Flamenco going. What I did before, like for the communication between the worker and the manager, and for the manager and the Blender add-on, I've been using OpenAPI. And the cool thing about that is that you can have an interface definition like this. So for example, submitting a job is done using this endpoint. And you can see that you can post to it. That's the URL to post to. This is an example job that I put in. It defines all the responses that you can get, how error messages are given. And you can even try it out and then get the job, click on execute. And this is the response. So now we actually created a new job without having to go to Blender. Did you hear about the crowd render farm Sheepit? Yeah, what do you think about it? I don't know, I've never used it myself. I mean, it's good that there's render farms, and there's render farms for all kinds of purposes. But other than that, I can't really say much. One thing that not many render farms have is a thing that you heard me mention a little bit already, and you see here also, it's the Shaman system. And that I quickly designed for like Flamenco 2 when we wanted to make it work on Microsoft Azure. Because when you run things in the cloud, you also have to upload all your assets to the cloud. And that meant that we had to minimize the upload time. For example, during spring, you have these big long-legged monsters. We call them, the one is the alpha monster, and then we had 5 beta monsters. They're 1.5 gigabyte each. So when you send every file again for every render job, which is what Flamenco used to do, of course you're uploading the same file over and over again, and it's just a waste of space and a waste of time. So Shaman, you can tell it a list of files that you want, and you identify files not by their file name, but by their checksum. And it uses the SHA checksum, which is why it's called the Shaman, also with a little hint to Sintel, of course. So you can post a list of list of requirements to the Shaman. For example, you can say, give me the files with this SHA-sum and this size, and that SHA-sum and that size. And then Flamenco will tell you, we can just try it out, execute. And, oh, interesting. My examples are not up to date. Anyway, it will tell you what it's still missing, and then you upload only those files that are still missing, and then it can do the checkout. That checkout means creating the directory structure that you need for the job, and then symlink all the files in there. So if you look at the Flamenco storage, these are the files that I uploaded just now. So that is a few different blend files and another file. And in jobs, you can see that Flamenco test here, this blend file is just a symlink to that particular file in the file store. And this way it can create deduplicated checkouts. So this pack info just says this was a Flamenco render job, and this is the name of the main file. If you look at it, it's just here it just says this is a Blender Asset Tracer pack. Start by opening this following blend file, and that is why for every render job that we just did, it's the same file. So that is why it's all symlinks to this same file. And that is how the deduplication works. Anyway, long story short, from this OpenAPI definition, we can also generate the server and the client components. And the add-on is in Python, so I generated a Python client for it. The worker is in Go, so I created a Go client for it. And now we have to do the same thing for JavaScript. I have something for that, which you can see here. So here you have an API client. You have models with assigned tasks and available job settings and everything that you define in that OpenAPI definition. But the way that this JavaScript is created means that I can't really plonk it into a Vue project. I have to make a separate package for it, and then I have to either upload it to the NPM store or I have to bother with symlinks, and that's also a bit meh. And I just didn't really get it to run nicely. So what I want to do is generate it in a way that we can move the files into the web app itself. And I think that'll be a lot nicer to work with. So let's do just that. This is my make file. Yeah. Well, this is where I generate the Python code. So it's a Java OpenAPI generator that runs in with Python. And this is the one I will. This is the one for JavaScript. And the JavaScript one requires a separate package and everything. So I want to see if we can make it work with TypeScript, and then we don't output to there. You know what? Let's investigate that. That's all fine. That's all fine. I don't know if all these settings are used by this generator, but I don't care that much. This can go away for now. This can go away for now. So let's see. Nice. Could not process model submitted job. Why? Why? There you go. The Python one works. And this one doesn't. Okay, let's remove the things I'm not sure of and try again. Nope. Hello, Sean. iPhone X versions do not support inheritance. I don't want to use inheritance. Hope you're having a good day today. Well, it is fun because I'm live streaming, but also as soon as I want to actually start something, I'm hit with the first cryptic error. Java long boolean cannot be cast to blah 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 schema. Yeah. Schema is an unnamed module of loader app. Yeah. Generator TypeScript is considered experimental. Oh, yeah. No, I'm doing the wrong thing. Good. Here, generators. It's always the well. My wife and I used to hitchhike a lot through, like, we've seen half of Europe hitchhiking, and one time we got really stuck. And that was after somebody told us, I know a great spot because I often see hitchhikers there, so I will just drop you off there. And we were tired and we weren't thinking, and so we said yes. Afterwards, we realized that everywhere you see hitchhikers, they haven't been taken away yet. They didn't get it right yet, and they're stuck there, and then you see them there often. So this seems always the case, because you got stuck on the things there. This one I wanted, the TypeScript node generator. That one used to run earlier. There we go. And now I can undo and bring this back there. It's like survivorship bias. Yeah, sort of. We just call it the hitchhiker's paradox now. Okay, so now we have a directory here. As you can see, compared to this with all the configuration files and the package JSON, etc., now we just have a git ignore, an open API ignore, a git push. I don't want to go away. And an API.ts. Hey, pipeliner. Did you ever take a look at OpenQ? No, I haven't. Should I? Okay, this seems to be generated incorrectly because this is manager/apis.ts. Ooh. And this is API, so I think it should be that. Yeah. HTTP from HTTP. It also doesn't generate any documentation. Interesting. Self-source vendor farm. Yeah, I've heard about it, but I never actually looked into it. I can show you what I have here for Flamenco for the add-on. So the add-on code in this directory is also generated purely from the OpenAPI stuff with the same generator, just a different language output. And that creates docs. And then you have like, let me see, jobs API, and then Markdown, open preview, and then you can see that in the jobs API, you have a fetch job and get job types and query job, submit job, all of that stuff. And this even has some example code with it, how to use it, which is amazing. But for the TypeScript stuff, I don't see it. And I'm also horrible at TypeScript. I've never used it, ever. Like I've seen it before, but that's about it. So we have something interesting. So let's say I move this into the source of my app. And then there's an API.ts which imports everything. So I should be able to get the client. Let's see if we can create a jobs API thing. Now we're using it so that we don't get nagged. That stuff isn't declared but unused. Module not found. Can't resolve that. Okay. There then. Yeah, yo. Also not. Yeah. Can find stuff in app.view in the /. And it should be able to just load this stuff. But maybe I should have some transpiling going on for TypeScript. Backpacking around Europe sounds so good. Yeah, it is super cool. Sweden is super easy to go hitchhiking. Croatia is also wonderful. Slovenia is wonderful. Maybe in tsconfig. Where is tsconfig? I have no tsconfig. Using Vue with TypeScript. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. The create view offers a TypeScript ready view project. Yeah, but we already have a project. Include preconfigured. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I think it's something like that. Yeah, and this is what I'm used to when we're doing JavaScript. All the warnings. Cannot create user local bin view. Yeah, I know. That's why I also don't like this stuff. Yay. And they were talking about create view. No create view. npm view at 3. But we were at yarn and not at view. There a yarn in it as well? Question. No. Easy way to start a Vue project. Yeah, well, let's try with npm then. Ah, there you go. So that means we can also say something like that. There. Project name. TypeScript. Yes, please. JSX. Do I want JSX support? What is JSX support? Yes, it's airline, rapper, Jakarta Stock Exchange. JavaScript. JavaScript, XML, React extension. Nah. View router, yes. PNAV for state management, I don't know. Oh, yes. Pineapple, yes. V-test for unit testing. Yeah, why not? Cypress for end-to-end testing. Nah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we have a Flamenco manager web package with, okay. Like this is already starting to confuse me a little bit because we made a project here because it has a package.json and a yarn.log and a node modules. So this is the root of my project. But then inside of that, I have Flamenco Manager, and inside of that, I have source. Which is maybe a bit much, but let's just roll with it for now. This again has a package.json. So I'm guessing this package.json, yeah, that's just a create view. So we don't need that, and Flamenco Manager is indeed our project, which means that app view 3ts can go to temp view 3 creates, and then temp view create Flamenco Manager can go to app view 3ts. And no, I want to go there. Now we have something. Mostly with React. No enough to get annoyed. Yeah, cheers to that. So let's see. No license fields. Yeah, that's fine. I'll put that in later. Heroes work here. Yeah, these are Dragonlands. Okay. No yarn serve. That is weird because with the old generator, it did create a serve thing. Unrelated question, do you have a way to not have to reconfigure an add-on like Flamenco Worker after it gets disabled and re-enabled in Blender? You shouldn't have to, right? I think. Like, so the only configuration I can do here is do that, and then I quit. So now it's definitely saved. By the way, I'm going to disable Blender Cloud add-on because it's old. So, no, wait, what? Again, save, quit. No, don't. Yes, now it's saved. So you were saying disable? I will save again and quit just to have it really disabled. Flamenco 3, enable. Yeah, it's gone. No, then no. There is no way. No, I didn't realize things got lost. I guess we could keep it around, but I guess that could also cause some issues. Yeah, poof gone. What you could do is maybe we have some pre-disable hook for cleanups where you could store stuff on disk in JSON or something and then load that if it's available. Yeah. Well, there you go. No issue. Good. Okay, let's see what we have. This can go away. This is the new beast. Wow. Well, there you have that tsconfig. So that's good. Which references other tsconfigs. Include the test. I guess this is for what? This is for testing. Vitae was for testing. So I guess this is the important one. And we have main.ts, which errors out because it can't find app.view, but it's still there. Do you know if you can read JSON with geometry nodes? I don't think you can. I wouldn't expect it to. You could create an add-on that reads JSON and then spits out a geometry node tree. View clear also provides TypeScript support, but is no longer recommended. I hope that relates to the no longer recommended relates to view clear and not to TypeScript. IDE support VS Code. Yeah, we do. Volar. Volar replaces Vitur. And TypeScript view plugin is needed to get. Yeah. Okay. Why not? I guess this is the one most users, so must be the right one. Hi, Mishak. Double check. No, Vitur is not installed. Still erroring. Okay, that's all nice. Now, configuring the TS. Take over. I just want to know how to run it. How do I start this thing? No mention of a yarn in this doc. There's the yarn run. Yeah, like there used to be a script in the VS Code 2. Sorry, the Vue 2 setting. You would have these guys. So I can just plonk that one in. Oh, but no Euclid service. View demifix, view TSC. Maybe it's the view disk. GS emit is not support. Okay. Type check preview. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, and then I want it on port 8081. Ah. Maybe I should read the README. It generated README. npm install, npm run dev, yeah. But I was told by peoples that we should be using yarn instead of npm. You can change the port in package.json. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Bob. What I wouldn't do without you, I don't know. So now, cannot get slash, beautiful. At least we have something. Use host to expose, yeah, that's not necessary. So we're using the router. So maybe, nah, that would put something on the index page, right? Router folder. Index.ts. Yeah, there is a create router. Slash should be home. And it loads the router from here. It tells the app to use the router. Do I need a build first? No, that just creates this. Ah! Right, we have an about page, we have a home. Yeah, I don't know how. I built, but I think, let me see if that was it, because this should, no. What? Apparently I do need to build before, Yarn previews for previewing the build output. Oh, then I need dev. You know, the thing that here is just described as vite. It's nice if you know what it means. There we go. There we go. Now we have it running. Hey Ali, I'm trying to get a Vue 3 application to work. which is like a web framework for dynamic pages. And there are some friendly people here in the chat who are dragging me through the process. That's much appreciated. So I have an index, Vita up. Yeah, no. Flamenco manager. Those friendlies. At least the title change works. So now I do notice that there are still errors here, or are they gone by now? Yeah, there are still errors here, but the thing is working, so I shouldn't pay too much attention to that. So we have components, we have stores with counter. So that probably means, well, let's first see if we can move the generated manager API into this. Did I throw it away? I think I threw it away. I put it here. I put it here. Yeah, like I want to tackle one beast at the time, so I'll first try and get it running before I start trying to figure out how to tame VS Code. Ooh, look at that. Nice. That is good. Does this work? Oh. Source manager, TypeScript manager, shaman API.ts. Oh, look at that. I could just click it. And then it opened in VS Code. That is so good. So request doesn't want to. So I guess the generated code still has its own dependencies. So let's actually look into this. npm install inside API. Would that work? Because the manager API TypeScript, like the generated code, doesn't have any package.json. Like here it does, but this is the old JavaScript one. Yeah, this is the old JavaScript one, so ignore that one. Let me just regenerate the thing. So I have a fresh copy here. Yeah, no, it doesn't have any package.json. Would it introspect my actual code and know what is missing? That would be tricky. Stores, manager, API TypeScript, and then here, I'm just going to do yarn install for shits and giggles. No, it actually picks up on Flamenco Manager. Is there any documentation here? Do a yarn run build. Yeah. There we go. Rollup failed to resolve import request. Yeah. If you want to externalize this module explicitly, I have no idea what that means. Yeah, going to, yeah, failing, yeah. Could it be because we're converting it to a browser, not running it in Node.js on the server? That it may be not suitable for running like we are now? We requested only for Node. Oh, that's it. That must be it then. So if we're running in a browser, what would be like fetch? jQuery? jQuery I know, but I don't want to. Ideally, this should be using fetch API. Yeah, that's a new browser standard, right? Using fetch API. Yeah, there we go. Let's give that a try. Axios. Open source library, HTTP requests. Yeah, okay. We could also use that. Axios is great. Reminds me of the Python request library. Okay, okay. Request is okay. But I'm going to try the other one first because that has just is built into browsers. Let's see what they document there about request library for Node is deprecated since 2020. Yeah. Okay, what is not supported in an Explorer doesn't matter. Safari, and they know. Well, we can just support it enough. It is supported enough. So let's give it a try. So then we go back to the make file. Hi, Misha. And yeah, Mishak wants to walk outside, which is only allowed to do under supervision. So not during a live stream. Sorry, buddy. That worked. That's good. We still have, yeah, slightly different. This is good. At least it doesn't start with an error. That is good. Base path is localhost. Well, that's going to have to change. This all looks quite familiar. Good. You generated JS. No, I ran make generate JS, which is just the target to run near generate JS, which is the target to run this command, which has TypeScript fetch in there. So I will have to fix that at some point. But for that kind of stuff, I first want to get it running before I try anything else. So let's see. We have that. This is the new one. then move it into the source. Let's see if we can do this. From, gimme, import, jobs API, from, come on, you were so nice. You did it so well the other time. Import. Okay. That doesn't error out. We run the dev. That's fast. That's good. That's gone. Oh, wow. This gets all the TS's. Uncaught syntax error. Why? Why? Non-existent export. What does that mean? Non-existent export is imported from something. Like, from submitted job, yeah. Submitted job. Exports, interface, submitted job. With the preview, it works. And it even gives me a class. And the prototype has, oh nice, query job, query, like get job types, query job, submit job. That it has the whole thing. That is pretty cool. So why doesn't it work? Mismatched tsconfig compiler options. Oh. So we have the view tsconfig. Can I click this? Yeah. Yeah. Drop support for IE. Okay, then we don't have to worry about the really ancient beast. That. This is Vitest. Is that also a French pun on vite is fast, and then Vitest is like the fastest, but also a test thing? Allow synthetic default imports. nowhere to be found, so I guess I have to add that somewhere. I hate this kind of boolean so much. Okay, supports ES6. Generate code that conforms to ES6. False. Okay. So now this is false. Does that mean it conforms to ES7? So setting this to true is a downgrade? Or does it support ES5 and setting this to true is an upgrade? Yeah, I don't really see anything here that would influence this otherwise. Oh, yeah. That could be it. So I guess that would just go here. Something like that. Nope. Still getting all the things. And then import not found command. And I have command here. Yeah, a lot of requests because Vita doesn't bundle. I guess that's a good thing. So that's fine. I mean, good to know. Thanks. The assign task.ts imports command from command.ts. Why is that a problem? Is this a some built-in name that I can't assign to or something? Tries to import a type as a value. Okay, you guys were happy with the TypeScript removed. It's an error. Yeah. What do you think? Is this something that is like a bug in the generator, or is it a bug in our project? And should we just tweak the configuration to make it run? Sounds like something in tsconfig. That's, well, sort of good. Command is auto-generated and maybe command default just to make sure you're not crashing into namespaces. Yeah, let's just give it a try. So this is a huge document. And this is actually the OpenAPI definition. So if I collapse everything, you can see what it consists of. It has some info that this is for the Flamenco manager. It's a render farm manager API. The paths have all the different paths that you can query. And the components has schemas, and the schemas have the command type. So let's just change this to task command, because a task is just nothing more than one or more commands and a status and some other stuff. I have to fix the references. Oh, only one task command. There we go. Now regenerate. Kick that one out. And I'm going to tell it to generate directly into the right directory so that they don't have to do the whole manual moving again. Before generating, it has to nuke that directory and then just deletes everything, generates it again. Then I can delete the old one. Okay, there we go. That's still errors on the view and not on the TypeScript, which is good. Rerun. Yeah, import not found task command. So the regeneration works, but it's not that. Man, wat niet zeker. Is there anything else we can put into this guy? To get this to work. Maybe tweak it like this so that it imports maybe things in a different order. Does that matter? No, it doesn't matter. Good. So let's try that ES6 thing. Who knows? Maybe it... Oh. Generate TypeScript 3.6 plus compatible code. Well, it's compatible, so that sounds good. I have no idea if it is good, but let's just keep that for now. building is still complaining about the non-existent export. Let's give that a try. Still complaining. Nope. Still import not found. Oh, oh, oh. This guy, yeah, it's in the compiler options, so I have to move this one there. Then reserve. Okay, let's try that. Ooh. Oh, no. I had to scroll. Still can't find it. You know what? Let's see how the other generator is doing, because the fetch one didn't require an external library, which is why I like it. But we can also go for the Axios generator, which also creates TypeScript. Isolated modules. we can just give it a try. Nope, still not. So let's try the Axios TypeScript generator. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's quite different. Wait, imports not used as that's here it has all those things, so this guy could work. I'm not feeling too certain about this. Yeah. Oh. Import not found request args. Let me check. I have the feeling that this is sort of a similar thing. It does export request args. If you looked at the relative paths, I wonder if the nested structure is throwing things off. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is like top directory of everything here. Actually, the module is false. Yeah, that was the default, but we can, let's just throw all of this out, all of the customization, and go back to default, because we now have a new generator. Yeah, this is the same kind of error as the other generator, just less of them. So I feel that we should still solve this somehow. So why is it complaining that this doesn't exist when it does? You need to include in tsconfig the API folder to resolve the local files. Oh. No, that has everything. So anything within source, it should resolve. And here, anything within source, it should grab, I guess. I think the core problem is that some exported things are interfaces or types which get removed during the compilation to JavaScript. Yeah. So would that mean that all of these TypeScript generators we can't use for browsers? This one then. This should now complain that jQuery is not there. Not even. But wait, this is still using Axios. Did I undo too much? Did I undo too much? No, it's creating it there. Hey, Anton. Yeah, I didn't get quite far enough yet. Wrestling JavaScript and web stuff. Yeah, requests are still trying to, no. Okay, I am just going to try and look at JavaScript again instead of TypeScript. Hi, Mishag. Challenges galore, yeah. Yeah. So now we have a structure like this. So within the source, we have manager API TypeScript, which is no longer true. Go away. JavaScript. So in here we have another source, and this is actually the one I'm interested in. The rest is all nonsense. So what I would like to do actually is generate it there. So that got removed. That gets removed. Let's do it like that. Stuff is removed, and then that has a source, and that has a source, yeah. And that has to be moved there. This is the old one. Yeah, so now we have a manager API with an index.js, and this is importing stuff. API client. And this is something that I, like the code itself, I got working before. But not as, like I got it working as a separate package that you then have to npm install or npm link, and I didn't like that workflow. So I want to return to the JavaScript that I once got working, which we're doing now. see if I can just import it from here. I have no idea how backward compatible TypeScript is with JavaScript. And I just want to import the API client. Could not find a declaration file from module, blah, 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 implicitly has an any type. Sure. I guess that means that it will try to parse the JS as thing. Oh yeah, and this is a super agent, yarn add super agent. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. We have an API client. That is awesome. Still throwing errors all over the place, but at least we have an API client. And that means I can take my old Vue app. No errors, yeah. Not in the JavaScript console anyway. I can copy this into here because I made a little module, JavaScript module. It's compatible with JS. You need to emit declarations in order to have typings and allow JS in tsconfig. Ultimate fix for all TypeScript plugins, just use JavaScript. Yeah, I was afraid of that. So let's see if I can port back some more stuff. So we have the URLs, which takes the URL, the current window location, and then just replaces the port with the port of the Flamenco manager we have running. Mr. Sybren, I want to say a big thank you to you and Julian Eisel for your work on the asset browser. Alongside the core performance improvements, is a game changer. Thank you. I'm super glad to hear that. And I'm glad that Julian is still working on it because I'm doing this stuff with Flamenco. Anyway, let's see if we can construct an API client here. So it's imported. And let's see if this works. Errors everywhere. Yeah, look at that. And I think that's my IP. That's not my IP. Yay, there we go. And yes, this is what I wanted. So now the client uses the IP address of the window to construct the manager's address, which is excellent. And that means that we can try and import the meta endpoint. I think it will be meta API. Is it here? Yes. I betcha. Meta API, yep, that's an object with an API client. It's not erroring out yet, so that's a good sign. Can I control click into here? No. Course heading are missing. It is now erroring out on the course headers, which is the cross-site, cross-origin request stuff. I have. Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, that's a bit nasty still. Okay, back to localhost it is. Still not. Why? Request headers, host 8080, origin, yeah. Localhost 8081 should be allowed. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, I had that earlier. It's slash has to be removed. From an unsecure web server mode, no. I wouldn't even use Chrome. So why do you not work? Here I can say copy as curl, and then I should be able to just. There we see. That doesn't say anything allowed, so that means it's not allowed. Oh, Jesus. I have to rebuild my application if I change the Go code. There you go. Now it allows it. There we go. And that's a promise, which is good. Which means that we can do this. Or something like this. Oh yeah, and now I have to learn TypeScript. I don't know TypeScript at all. How do you declare a type? This is allowed. That is allowed. I know nothing of TypeScript. I don't even know how to declare a function. Any. Yes, well, actually, it is not any, so this may be to our advantage. Actually, this would return some. Let me check. Because we here manager configuration, because we're calling into this here path API configuration. This has an operation ID of get configuration, and it's tagged with meta. And this is why it generated a meta API, because that's based on the tag, and why the function then is called get configuration. So this function name is the same for every implementation, basically. So on the server, it's called get configuration. On the generated clients, it's called that. And what it returns is a manager configuration object. So we should be able, yeah, there you go, manager configuration. So we can even do this. And it wouldn't even be any. And thank you, Pauk and Mr. Jimfix for helping me out here. Because we know it's a manager configuration object. And that should then work. Actually, it was already on screen. There you go. And it shows the storage location, and it shows the Shaman being enabled. So that is awesome. And then we can do the same for the version, which is get version on the meta API. And that returns a Flamenco version object. So we can do that here. And this is then version. And of course, we go there. And is this allowed? An extra squiggly, so I guess so. So we can do that. And there you go. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So now we have an app with Vue. Yeah, OpenAPI, I love it. This is the first project I've ever used it. And I really like how it works. So let's see if we can get more of this into the thing. So now we have the most important bit is the manage API is being put inside the sources. And we have a project that is based on TypeScript. So we can use TypeScript for our own stuff and then JavaScript for the generated API, which is fine. The package.json has a super agent in there, which I needed to install for the JavaScript thing. Axios is actually no longer necessary. So let's remove that from there. This is fine. Flamenco manager version, yeah, whatever. Let's just call it 3 there. So there's some 3 in there, but it's by far not version 3.0. It was always complaining about the license. So let's take a license from this guy. And the private is true, and the author that license is that, there's that. Still working. That is excellent. So now what I like about Git GUI is that I have one application now that only handles like committing stuff. So I got my overview. of what needs to be done. So let's look at that. Generator doesn't consistently overwrite existing files. No longer does it remove no longer generated files. Well, the first one I think was true for the Python generator, so I'm not entirely sure. But let's just keep this in here. This can be committed though. So I can now just say, okay, these lines, I don't have to select the entire line, just any line that has some selection in it, stage lines for commit. And then this I want, yeah, that is fine to remove. Generate output files, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, wait. Let's experiment a little bit more before committing this. Because supports EX6. Let's remove that and actually rebuild. Still working. Good. Emit JS doc, you were saying. That sounds like an option for this friend, but it's not. So what's the emit JS doc? Why do I want it? For sure, I want to just cherry pick the source directory. It is for JS Generator to expose JS documentation that can be handled by TS. That sounds good. But let's see, I'm here in the JavaScript generator. Maybe I searched wrong. Yeah, it can't find emit JS doc, so I'm not sure where to put it. Oh, here. What? It's there. It is there. Why don't you find it? Weird thing. Yeah, but like here, match case isn't checked, so it shouldn't have mattered. Anyway. Oh, but it's true by default, so that is good, right? That we don't have to include. It would explain why there is no documentation generated in separate files. Yeah, because it's in here. I'm a shock. Yeah. But only, yeah, it only has like the descriptions. I don't see any example code, but that's fine. Yeah, the build still works without errors, so that's good. Back to Git GUI. So this works. Correct patch. What? There we go. And then, now that I've staged all the changes that I want to have, I can go to the make file, press Ctrl J, or where is it here? Revert changes, and confirm. And then now everything that was changed is still, like everything I wanted to stage is still there. Everything I didn't want to commit is now actually removed from the make file. This is just regenerating the config. Ooh, next thing that we should be doing is here in Git GUI, you can see that I changed the command to task command, and I want to revert that. So another Control J and make generate JS and see if that still works. And things are still working. Nice. Nope, go away. Wow. Just do it again then. Git GUI. This is just regenerating, which puts a new version number in there, but it's not that relevant, so I will revert those. This was an important change. I will commit separately. Web app view 2 I didn't touch because that was Francesco's. No, that was Francesco's copy of mine, so I will leave that out. Web app source main.js. This is also my toying around in Francesco's directory. I won't do anything there. The web temp view 3 create I will remove later. That leaves us with all this generated code. So what I decided to do for Flamenco is actually commit the generated code. Usually I would say don't do that, only have like handwritten code in the Git repository, because that, like, everybody can regenerate code, and then you don't have these automatic and manual changes intermixed. But because the generator is made in Java, so you need a Java runtime environment on your machine to generate the Python and the JavaScript code. It's kind of a bigger barrier. So what I wanted to do is that you would have Go installed and like the whole Node.js stuff with Yarn for the package manager there. But then you should be able to type make, and that should pull in everything and just run. And so you only need to generate code when you need to regenerate it, which I think is kind of nice. So all of that gets staged. Web new U3 with TypeScript. Now that last one. There. I would go with the generated code as a node module directly to a GitHub repository, but I understand your point. Yeah, well, GitHub is not going to be anyway for Blender projects. But like when you're working, like everything now from Flamenco is in one repository. It used to be separate. Flamenco 2 has like 4 different repositories. You have the server component, which was completely dumped. You have the manager component, the worker component, and then the Blender add-on. And then you have BAT as well, which is like a separate thing. So you needed to juggle a lot of different repositories, and I kind of want to avoid that. Now, with the new Flamenco, you have everything in one repository, which means that when the OpenAPI definition changes, there's one commit that contains that change. And I still have to figure out how to balance this properly. I think it will be one commit that has the change to the OpenAPI definition. And after that, immediately following a commit with just the regenerated code, OpenAPI code. So that they always go together, but that you still have a distinction between the commit of the generated code and the commit of the API change itself. But all of that would be for all of Flamenco 3 in one commit, and I think that is a better way. Yay for monorepos. Yeah, exactly. So now, I kind of feel, yeah, I kind of feel that we should be looking into, do we really want to use TypeScript? Because the reason for me, the main reason to go to TypeScript was because I couldn't get the JavaScript thing to work properly. But now it's upside down, and we couldn't get the TypeScript thing to work properly. So instead of having all these squiggly errors that are not errors at runtime, but Visual Studio Code doesn't quite understand it, I'm not entirely sure. So in the chat, what do you guys think? Should we go with TypeScript for the web interface and see if we can resolve those squiggly lines somehow? Or would you say, nah, it's not really worth it, and just go for JavaScript? You should use TypeScript. Okay. Yeah. Stronger type is a better idea. Generally, yeah. Dan says JS. Please say why. I want to know why. Because I've been using, get it working JS, migrate to TS later. Could be. Like one of the reasons, like, sorry, I started Python started Python back in 2005, and I really embraced like Python 3 and the type annotations and everything, because I love having way more context about what kind of data you're pushing from function to function. And so to me, TypeScript is quite a nice idea to have. But if I look at the squiggly lines and an IDE that doesn't quite understand what's going on, maybe less so. This one probably I can resolve. Couldn't find a declaration file from module blah implicitly has an any type. Yeah. Okay, let's see as just a test, like how would we resolve that any type? Because if we can't resolve this error in this file, then I don't think it's worth it. Could also look into what CoffeeScript. Yeah. Could do. The familiarity is an issue though, because I'm going to do most of the most of the development here, like on the functional side of things. Pablo is going to work on the looks. Francesco and I are going to work on the functional side. Do you think there will be a lot of different types with the interface? Will it mostly be strings? Well, it's going to be quite a few types from the OpenAPI definition. So like this Flamenco version, like the manager configuration, but also jobs, tasks, commands. So it's kind of nice to have that, like all the things that we write down for OpenAPI, to get it more in there. Rename JS to TS. Oh, yeah. Rename that. Renaming. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, and then window.location is not assignable parameter string or URL. Password shows pairs username to JSON. Jesus. Yeah, that's the thing. It may be more pain figuring out now, but I suspect better types will make it more maintainable, less error prone in the long run. Yeah, for sure. Declare window. Okay. How? Like import window from web browser. Just typing literally declare window. Yeah, that guy. So type location. Well, that returns a string. So you have to assign it to window location href. Yeah, that's probably it. There we go. Yeah, I must say that about all the typing, like I started with Go a few years back when I was working on Flamenco. Flamenco Manager, the Flamenco 2 Manager was actually the first Go project that I did. And I really liked it because it feels kind of easy to work with, like Python, but then much uh, faster and stricter, and I really like working with it. Unable to open url.js file found. No, I just renamed it. So why? Yeah, that works. Yeah, well, no, this is now working because I'm not using window.location, but window.location.href. And if I actually run the dev server, yeah, it's still working. So it is working. Do I need to do something like this? Like I'm a bit annoyed by the implicitly has an any type. Like what has an any type? Tell me, oh JavaScript. Yeah, it can resolve it from a function. I was hoping for that as well, yeah. But like, yeah, I can add some ignored there. Somebody posted that in the thing. Can I? Because I can change the URLs module, but I can't change the manager API because that's generated code. So I don't want to mess around with that. Okay. Create an external.d.ts with thing. Assuming you know JavaScript. Yeah, let's say I do. Yeah. Declaration file, yeah. Interesting. So I can declare these things. Now the question is, can this guy generate those things for us? Don't see that quite yet. And then would that do the trick? No. Put it there, I guess. Does that do the trick? Nope. Let's see if it helps to restart VS Code. Still loading stuff. Ooh, look at that. The URLs error is gone, and now it does find it. So restarting actually did something. That's good. I guess I can remove this guy then as well. Yeah. Okay. One down, two to go. No, still doesn't want to. And also the app.view doesn't work well. But maybe... I did install that extension. Maybe I should just look at this instead. Okay, let's just for now ignore the thing a bit. And do some more exciting stuff. One thing that we want to do is show a list of jobs. So for that, I already made a component in view 2. Which is this Flamenco jobs table. So I'm just going to copy it here into components. And of course, this is in, TypeScript. And Francesco already made a thingy for it. So we have a job list with a script. Like that, I think. Warning. Long STS, yeah. Oh, it's going to be another fun thing soon. Let's see. So this is still the same syntax I had used before. So why is this not working? Can't find moment. Yeah, but how I can click it's there. Come on, people. Allow JS and taste. Yeah. Let's do that for now. I guess that's a compiler option thing. No. No. Actually, it told me here. Allow JS, true. Yes. There. That is nice. We got that. It builds. That's good. That looks better, yeah. Reload maybe. If if it wants to actually load. There we go. Now, more copying from Francesco's work, because he had a template with like header, footer in his app.view. So let's put that in mind as well. Oh, but the example has some nice things I want to keep around. So let's do it like that. No, I don't want any changes. Don't copy Git, move them to have history. Nah, that doesn't matter. Git actually detects when files have been copied or moved, so it detects it from the content. And doing a Git move doesn't really add anything as far as I know. So Git is kind of smart in that way. I'm messing up things. This one, copy, paste, there we go. So we're importing the jobs table. We have an app called app. Let's go for load of sons instead. And then you set up like a grid system. We have the Flamenco jobs table, which has a jobs table, then a jobs tabulator is defined here as a tabulator component, which grabs the tabulator component from view tabulator. So we have to double check. That's ugly. I have to double check whether view tabulator is actually supporting view 3. Because tabulator is the browser component that we use for listing lots and lots and lots of data. And it's quite fast with like 10,000 items in a table, or 10,000 rows with 1,000 columns each. And view tabulator is like a wrapper for it that turns it into a view component, which is nice, but it also only supports an older version of the thing. Caveats. I've had some trouble with this baby, so I had to disable part of the thing. Simplicity, minimal setup to use. Yeah, well, if you don't list your requirements, then it's not simple, is it? Maybe we can just see what it depends on. View, there you go, view 2. So no, can't use this one. And tabulator tables, that's the one. And they only support 4 point something, and by now 5 point something is out already. So I don't think it's worth bothering with Now the trick is how to use tabulator from view without the view tabulator. JavaScript. So we don't use any subcomponents anymore. These are the options that are just some properties of a job, so that can stay the same. And when it's been created, let's do mounted. And wait for fetching the jobs. And data also should have not just options, but oak. But this needs the element, and thus it should only be done here in mounted, where we have the element available. And then we can pass the data and other options. So this will just get this dot options. Let's see how hard this breaks. Internal server error. Does that show here as well? Yeah. Failed to resolve components job table view from source of view. Does the file exist? No, because there. Now it does. It does hang often on reload, which is weird. Yeah, preprocessor dependency SAS not found. Yeah, I've seen that before. And I had to have another one, not just SAS. That was dependencies. SAS loader also needed to be done, and that had to be a version 10 because of reasons. Let's just give it a try like this. Oh yeah, that was for compatibility with the Webpack thing, so like that. I'm pretty dependent on Webpack. But I thought the view thing came with Webpack. Yeah, no, wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, don't reference IDs and components. I know I shouldn't. Forgive me. No, I agree. I fully agree. It should just reference an element inside the component. I will do that later. For now, I just want to get the thing to work. The problem is down here because it's importing stuff from tabulator, which it shouldn't. syntax error, import not found default. Jobs table. Why? Oh, yes. Maybe like that. Yeah, import star as. I've seen the import star thing, but like with Python, it's better to not import star, as in not import everything in one go. But I don't know if it has the same effect in JavaScript. And then I get a view warning, data property tabulator is already defined in methods job title. Yeah. So that means I should remove this one maybe. Yeah. We're getting stuff, but yeah, I'm out. Isn't that it bypasses the default exporter or something? Yeah, in Python, when you do from some module import star, that means that you pull all the symbols from that module into the current namespace. So if you then type run, you don't know if it's like if you do from submodule import star, submodule has a run function. So then when you do run, you pick up the run function from that subprocess module. And that is not something really, really nice. So what I'm looking for now is just a quick start. Yeah, yarn add, I did that. Because I guess we also have to have, yeah, style script. Importing. Oh, import. Tabulator full. There you go. Reading documentation, it helps. Who would have known? So we got tabulator full as tabulator. And then we need to import this here. I have no idea why this is there, but yeah, can't find it. We have one min in the dist. I think that's good enough. What? No. Fail to find this in source component. Yeah, oh, yeah, of course. Remove the slash at tilde slash tabulator. Yeah, it has to be the right path. Use this home folder and it resolves from path in ts config. Oh, so I wouldn't have, would it be like the project root or something? Include this. Oh, I guess that's the base URL then, or the paths. How does that work? Till the module name should resolve to node modules with SAS loader. Ah, there we go. So that then. The home of tabulator tables. I like it. Still a result though. Oh yeah, because that is not what I should, because this is a CSS. No, go back. Oh, for an FCSS project, this will be still this. Okay, so we do go for the CSS one. I think this is pretty much what we had already. I just got a call from a friend, so I will quickly send her a message back. Yep, then yeah. Nope, still not found. Yeah. Yeah, go up. Counting is hard. Okay. Oh, it's actually deprecated. Should we use without? You're wrong lang. Should it be like that then? No. Without the tilde. There we go. And the lang doesn't matter, but without the tilde it works. So let's keep the lang at CSS, because less modernity, less to go wrong. Hmm. So I'm guessing the importing full it takes care of this, but I'm not sure. So let's just do this instead. Then I just lose the pagination. Now I have the pagination. Okay. In the main TS, we have an API client. Let me look up how I passed that to the app before. Oh yeah, I had to do that as well. That works. That's good. Because now we should have an API client. This is still not erroring. That is good. And because we have an API client, we should be able to fetch all the jobs. And yeah. Flamenco manager is not defined. Oh, yeah, the jobs API, we had to create it in a new way. To access lexical declaration jobs API before initialization. Oh, yes, this should be lowercase. And now the API client is not right. API client in jobs table undefined. Yeah, if that happens, then this guy will take the default API client, which points to localhost instead of the actual API client. Already here in the jobs table. Yeah, I have to figure out how to pass these guys because the app is now created in a different way. Instead of new view app, it is with create app. So I have to figure out how to pass stuff to it. Well, I will have to do that later because it is time for me to end the stream. I thank you all very much for all your help because it's been super helpful. So thank you so much. And I have to order food for friends who are coming over and have to do some other things. So again, thanks and see you online soon, I hope.